And do you know someone who I'm really excited to see this year, and who's basically getting zero attention? It's Harrison
Who-
Barnes, and
Yeah.
that's because I said it when we got Sabonis last year, was that Barnes was being utilized as the number two scoring option, which should never be the case. And now with Murray stepping up, as you see in preseason and what he did in summer league, it's like you were saying, like, yeah, I think Murray could be the third option. Like, yeah, maybe. Like, I think that's pushing it. But shoot, after seeing what he's doing, like, I totally understand where you're coming from. You throw Barnes at the four option on scoring. I mean, maybe even the fifth behind Herder or Monk, even.
Yeah.
Just a reduced role from what he's had to do since he's been on the Kings. And yeah, he's not going to score 17 points like he did last year. Because he's not the second guy to score the ball. But I just think he's gonna have just a very nice year. He shoots the three ball at a high clip. I think he's gonna benefit it from he's gonna benefit from all of this a lot. Um, he's not gonna have those burnouts that he usually does mid season, and I just really like Barnes. I was really hard on Barnes at the beginning of his Kings tenure, but I really fell in love with him last year, and he's perfect for this culture. He fits in with this team really well. I mean, I feel like he fits in with any team really well. He's just good 3-point shooter, good defender. I think he's just gonna have a really good yet probably quiet season. But I'm excited to see what he can do with a reduced role and a role that he is meant to play.
Yeah. What did he do in Golden State? He wasn't even close to being the primary option. And when the ball came to him in the playoffs, he hit his threes. I think you're going to see a return to that. Harrison Barnes, you got to make the playoffs first. But everybody points to it. Look at his shot chart. And we wrote about this at the beginning of training camp. One of the questions about Harrison Barnes is he still the third option? Well, probably not. When you have Murray and Herder, you know, and that's probably a good thing. His shot chart when he was in Dallas was all over the place. And then he started to play better in Sacramento. As James Ham at one point noted, when he started shooting simply either within 10 feet or from beyond the arc, limiting any other shots. It was a cleaner shot chart and a more efficient shot chart. He's able to be such a heavy impact and efficient player by not having to do too much. It just seems like throughout his career, that's kind of the thing with him. He's very good. He's very talented. You'd like him maybe to be like, I mean, like, look at the beginning of last year, or like the first game of the year. Like, how many points did he score against Portland last season on opening night? And it was like, oh my God, is Harrison Barnes going to be an MVP candidate? Obviously, no. But it's just like he's so much better suited as a fourth or fifth option, like you're talking about. And he's a guy that's going to do what he needs to do. He's going to hit his shots. He's going to play in the pick and roll game, stand in a corner. He'll do anything. He'll cut. He's a great cutter. I think another thing that gets kind of overlooked. Well, Mike Brown actually said it at the end of the Portland game, so it didn't get overlooked at all. But Harrison Barnes had 3 offensive rebounds last night against Portland. He's good. He wants to get active on the glass. You take the scoring load off him, like you're saying, and he's going to be able to kind of spread out and do other things, be more active on the glass, be a better defender. We always talk about how he's not a great defender. I mean, he's like a solid team defender. He's probably going to thrive in this Mike Brown offense, in this Mike Brown kind of style defense. But it's like, well, you're taking that scoring load off him. Maybe he'll be a little bit better one-on-one. You don't want him to be on an island against anybody, but maybe he's a little bit more effective with less of a scoring role. So I think you're absolutely right. And I think spot on. There's so many things to talk about. It does kind of get overlooked. And he kind of is, when you think about it, of the starting 5. Fox and Sabonis, everyone wants to talk about them. Herder, you're talking about, he's like the great pickup. Murray, the rookie that everybody's got their eyes on, that's surprising, not really surprising everybody, but is playing great. Barnes kind of gets forgotten, and I think that's a great point, because he's going to have a big year in a way that's not going to be like blowing off the stat sheet. He's just going to be. Granted, he doesn't get traded, which you can't rule that out. Last year of his deal, but I mean, like, you think about it, it's like I don't want to be too optimistic and like sappy because it's a business, but it's like, you know, maybe he has a great year not playing a huge role and he can kind of not take up so much money and be with the team going forward or something like that. Doesn't that kind of serve a similar purpose if he can just kind of, because I'm sure that if he's winning, playing a starting role here, he'd be more than happy to stay. I don't want to overspeak, but finally getting some stability, seeing things being done the right way. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get ahead of myself on that, but it's just like he can really have a big year. He could really make things interesting going forward with the whole idea that he could very well be traded or he might not be here next year or maybe he will be. I don't know. Um, it's a great point about Harrison Barnes.
Just to add what you're saying about not thinking ahead, I mean, to think ahead a little, the small forward free agent class next offseason is very, very limited. So holding on to Harrison is probably not a bad idea unless you can get one in a trade. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. And I
But
mean, Barnes is a good one, and he's only he. I know he's going to be, he's 30 this year, and so he'll be 31 next year. This guy takes care of his body, arguably. You know, he's almost best in class in terms of that, and he's modified his game, and he's almost gotten better with each year. And of course, you're getting to a point in your career where you're going to start to plateau and decline, maybe even in production. But if anybody's going to kind of extend their prime a little bit, it'd be Harrison Barnes, right? At least I would wager.
yeah, 100%. He's the one to do it. The way he takes care of himself, and especially taking a
Especially
reduced role.
exactly, yeah. It was just a yeah, you got it. Hell yeah. So I think that's a great point about Harrison Barnes. It definitely can't be overlooked.